Hi, my name is David Taylor, and I'm a pre-sales engineer with SAP. And what we want to do in this particular demo is really give you an idea of utility work management using standard processes within SAP versus map-based functionality. Now, what we want to do in this particular use case is be able to change out less efficient streetlights with LED units. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and do a search of my assets so I can find my individual streetlights. So I'm going into my change equipment screen, and I'm going to go ahead and select the type of equipment I want to be able to replace. And in this case, I want to replace my less efficient 175 watt streetlights with LED lights. So I'm going to scroll on down here to streetlights, select that, and then around the size and dimension, I'm going to type in 175 watts to reduce the selection. I now check select, and now here you can see all the different streetlights that we've brought back, and there's about 100 different streetlights in this particular list. And I can begin to create work packages for my crews so they could go ahead and begin replacing these streetlights. But the problem is that, how am I going to organize this in such a way that these can be replaced together and so my work crews can work efficiently? So what I want to be able to do is look at this information in a more intuitive way. So let me just show you how it would look in a map. If I select these items and say display on a map, here now you can see how I could much more easily see how I might want to define these work packages so that I could group these individual assets together, and so I could replace these individual streetlights much more easily. So what do I have to do within SAP today? So in SAP today, what I would need to do is go back to my original drawings or go back to another system and select the individual work orders or the individual assets that I would want to work together. And then I would say go to, and I would create my work order. And then I could group these individual items together and execute them as a work order. And that's the process I would do today within SAP. So I would have to kind of manually go back and forth between a third-party system or a my individual maps and so on. But now I want to show you the intuitive look of an interface by starting first with a map. So here, right within my map interface, I can open up and I can see I've got a search window, and I'm able to search for different assets. So let's search for our street lamps, and let's go ahead and narrow this down to my 175 watt street lights. Click search. I'm going to see that same list of 100 street lights, but here now I can see exactly where they're located. So now what I can begin to say is, let's go ahead and group these by street. So if I select my freehand polygon and I just drag right on the map here, I can actually select these 5 street lights and click search here. So here I can see those individual 5 street lights. I can see the assets listed, and now I could create a one-to-n or a one-to-many work order. In this case, I want to keep the individual histories for each one, so we're going to go ahead and create the one-to-one. And I'm going to say replace with efficient LED units. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my activity type here, which is sustainability, and my work center. And I can see it takes about an hour for each one, which is correct. And so let's go ahead and press the green check mark. And so now as I save that, it's going to go ahead and create those work orders. So now it's created all the 5 different work orders from 223 to 227. And so now that I've selected and been able to create those work orders, what I'd like to be able to do is just introduce you to some additional capabilities in the map. So here in the top right-hand area of the map, again, I can interact. I can change this, for example, to be a satellite image view, for example. I can switch over to a street map, to an Esri street map, etc. I've got all my reference layers here that would typically come from my external GIS system. So I could see my distribution grid, for example. I can see some demographic information around housing. I could see population change information that I could use from a planning perspective, or even individual local land parcel information here. So for example, I could check that box now and see that, again, displayed instantaneously there on the map. Now if I want to access my SAP data, I can go here to business layers, and this is going to contain all my SAP objects. So in this particular case, what I want to be able to do is select my different work orders. So I've selected business layers here, and I can see my electrical distribution. I can see my work management, my maintenance, and here I've got my maintenance orders. So let me display my work orders, and I can see based on the color and the LED which ones are outstanding, which ones are overdue by more than 4 days, etc. And as I hover over and move my mouse over, we'll see that change. Now as I zoom in, right, I can begin to interact directly with these work orders. I can reposition the map, for example. And now I see some outstanding work orders here that are part of my sustainability type, UGen. And so now if I want to go ahead and schedule these work orders, then what I can do is through the same GIS view, I can go here to my orders. And then in this particular case, it's UGen, general maintenance, that I want to select. And then I want to use my freehand polygon. Now again, I can drag this across any ones that I wanted to go ahead and schedule. And these street lights are a priority for me, so I'm going to schedule those now. And I click search, and now here's all of those work orders that are currently outstanding. So now I can just right click and say I want to schedule these work orders. So here now it's finished the scheduling process, and here I can see my resource planning screen. So what I really wanted to show you today was that by starting with a map and using a map, I can get a much more intuitive way of being able to create my work orders and schedule my work orders. Thank you very much.